There exists a truth that Buddha discovered under the Bodhi tree, but few dare to accept. Your mind does not need to be conquered, tamed, or controlled. It needs only to be observed with the same patience that a fisherman observes turbid waters, awaiting the moment they become crystalline on their own. The greatest error we commit in seeking inner peace is believing we must fight against our thoughts, dive into mental chaos to organize it, when in truth, every attempt to control the mind is like entering a muddy river, expecting our agitation to make it cleaner. But what if you discover that the deepest meditation technique involves no effort whatsoever, but rather the supreme art of doing nothing, simply sitting at the margin of your own consciousness as silent observer, while thoughts, emotions, and memories move like leaves in the current until finally settling at the bottom, revealing clarity that was always present but hidden by our own interference. An ancient parable, starring Buddha himself in his final days, contains the golden key that can transform your meditative practice from exhausting battle into profound rest, where peace emerges naturally. The first revelation is born through seemingly common situation. Buddha, already elderly and walking through dense forest on a scorching day, suddenly stopped and asked his disciple Ananda for water, not just any water from any source, but specifically from the small stream they had crossed hours before, when there were much closer and more accessible sources along the way. What few perceive is that realized masters never make casual requests. Every word, every gesture, every apparent whim is a seed of teaching planted at the exact moment when the disciple's consciousness soil is prepared to receive transformative truth. Imagine an experienced gardener who plants seeds not when he wants, but when earth, climate, and season align perfectly for germination. Thus was Buddha with his teachings, awaiting precise moments where direct experience could replace abstract theory. That water request, which seemed inconvenient and even irrational, was actually disguised invitation for lesson that would forever change Ananda's understanding about the nature of mind and essence of true meditation. Zen tradition preserves similar story about master who sent disciple to seek specific flower at top of distant mountain when monastery garden was full of identical flowers. When young monk questioned the task's logic, master replied, "The flower you bring will not be different from these, but you will be completely different from who departed." Thus are instructions of realized beings, apparently about external objects, but always about inner transformation of the one executing them. Practical application of this revelation requires sensitivity to recognize that apparently irrational or inconvenient challenges life presents may be disguised invitations for spiritual growth. When the next frustrating situation arises, inexplicable traffic, unexpected delay, seemingly senseless request, pause and ask, what does this experience want to teach me about patience, acceptance, or presence? Transform inconveniences into opportunities for spiritual practice. Affirm with confidence, every apparent obstacle is divine invitation to greater awakening. I receive teachings where others see only problems. My entire life is sacred school of consciousness. The second revelation exposes automatic reaction governing most of our experiences. Upon arriving at the stream, Ananda found water completely muddied and turbid because cattle had passed through, stirring sediments from the bottom, and immediately his rational mind issued categorical judgment. This water is unfit. It would be absurd to take it to the master without even considering possibility of waiting or observing more deeply. This is precisely how our mind operates most of the time, classifies experiences as good or bad, appropriate or inadequate, worthwhile or not, based on superficial appearances of the present moment without allowing time to reveal deeper truths. Visualize art critic who looks at canvas in process of creation and declares work failed before artist even completes final brush strokes. Thus, our judging mind condemns situations, people, and experiences based on information fragments, without patience to perceive that everything in life is in constant process of transformation. Turbid water doesn't remain turbid forever. Difficult relationships can evolve. Apparently insoluble problems frequently resolve themselves when we stop interfering with anxiety and allow time and non-action to do their wise work. The Tao Te Ching teaches about sage who doesn't act precipitously but awaits appropriate moment. He doesn't run ahead of others, therefore doesn't fall behind, doesn't assert anything, therefore stands out. Since he doesn't compete, no one can compete with him. Ananda, by judging water unfit without giving time for natural clarification, was competing with organic purification process, trying to impose mental timeline on natural rhythm of transformations. Liberating practice of this revelation involves developing capacity to suspend premature judgments about situations appearing problematic or inadequate. Before declaring any experience negative, grant at least 24 hours to observe how it may evolve naturally. When judging thought arises, breathe deeply and declare internally, I don't know the complete story yet. I allow time to reveal hidden wisdom in this situation. Cultivate art of seeing potential where others see only problems. Affirm with wisdom, I suspend premature judgments about temporary appearances. I trust each situation carries growth seeds that will reveal themselves in appropriate time. Patience is my ally in discovering deeper truth. The third revelation occurs when Buddha, far from accepting Ananda's logical excuse about unfit water, insists with even more mysterious instruction, return to the stream, but don't touch water if it's still dirty. Just sit at the margin in silence and observe. This apparent contradiction, going to fetch water but not taking it if turbid, carries revolutionary teaching about fundamental difference between compulsive action and conscious presence. What few perceive is that Buddha was redirecting Ananda from mentality of doing something about the problem to superior state of being present with natural resolution process. Imagine difference between anxious person constantly picking at wound, hoping it heals faster versus one who carefully cleans injury, then allows body to do regenerative work without interference. First approach delays healing through unnecessary agitation. Second accelerates recovery through wise non-interference. Thus is difference between mind constantly trying to resolve, analyze, control versus consciousness, patiently observing, allowing solutions to emerge organically from silence. Tibetan Buddhist tradition tells of Lama, who asked disciple to watch boiling kettle without removing it from fire or adding water. Just observe entire process until water completely evaporated. What was the lesson? He asked afterward. I learned, replied disciple, that observing without interfering reveals mysteries that premature action never allows discovering. I saw how water transforms into vapor, how fire relates to metal, how patience reveals secrets that haste hides. Practical application of this revelation completely transforms approach to daily problems. Next time facing challenging situation, whether interpersonal conflict, difficult decision, or complex emotional issue, resist automatic impulse to do something immediately. Instead, dedicate specific time to simply observe situation without trying to fix, analyze, or change it. Sit literally or figuratively at problem's margin and observe how it evolves when you don't interfere with anxiety. Frequently, you'll discover elegant solutions emerge spontaneously from non-action space. Practice mantra of conscious observation. I become silent witness instead of compulsive actor. I allow life's natural wisdom to reveal solutions anxious effort would never discover. Patient presence is my most powerful transformation tool. The fourth revelation happens when Ananda, finally following instruction to simply observe without acting, witnesses apparently miraculous process. Gradually, without any external intervention, heavy sediments settle at stream bottom. Leaves and debris are carried by current, and crystalline water emerges naturally, not through effort or manipulation, but simply because disturbance ceased and system could return to its natural state of clarity. This is precisely the model of how mind functions when we stop interfering with constant agitation of analyses, worries, and control attempts. Visualize snow globe that, when shaken vigorously, keeps flakes suspended, creating zero visibility, but when placed on stable surface, allows gravity to do silent work until revealing clear landscape inside. Our mind operates exactly thus. Mental agitation keeps flakes of thoughts, emotions, and memories in chaotic suspension. But moment we stop shaking through anxious rumination, natural clarity emerges spontaneously. Yogananda used to demonstrate similar principle with bowl of muddy water, vigorously stirred in front of disciples, then placed on table and remained silent until water became completely transparent. This, he said, pointing to clear water, is mind's real nature when not disturbed by constant desires, fears, analyses, and judgments. True meditation is not cleaning process, it's cessation of agitation, allowing natural purity to reveal itself. Transformative application of this revelation revolutionizes meditative practice. Instead of trying to stop thoughts or control mind, which is like trying to stop ocean waves by hitting them with paddles, simply sit immobile and allow thoughts to follow natural course without engaging with content or attempting to modify them. Establish daily practice of 15 minutes of margin meditation. Sit comfortably, close eyes, and become silent observer of mental flow, like watching movies without identifying with characters. When mind becomes agitated, remember, I need do nothing. I just observe until natural clarity emerges. Cultivate deep faith in process. My mind possesses natural wisdom to purify itself when I don't interfere with unnecessary agitation. Patient observation reveals clarity always present. Interior silence is my natural state and divine birthright. The fifth revelation emerges when Ananda, returning with crystalline water, makes courageous confession marking decisive moment in his spiritual journey. Admits having felt anger, initially considering Master's request absurd and irrational, but now understands instruction apparently about water was actually about his own mind and interior purification process. This brutal honesty with himself, recognizing resistance, impatience, and judgments instead of feigning spiritual serenity, represents rare quality separating authentic seekers from those trapped in superficial, spiritual self-image. Imagine mirror showing true reflection versus distorted mirror, creating perfection illusion. Most people prefer living with distorted self-image, making them feel spiritually superior, instead of facing naked truth about own resistances, fears, and unconscious patterns. Ananda chose true mirror, and this courage to see himself clearly, including personality's shadow aspects, was precisely what allowed real transformation instead of superficial spiritual growth. Saint John of the Cross, Christian mystic, taught about dark night of soul as necessary stage where practitioner must honestly face all illusions about himself before achieving genuine union with divine. Those avoiding this brutal honesty, he warned, remain forever in garden of spiritual illusions, never knowing real freedom coming only through total authenticity with oneself and God. Courageous practice of this revelation requires developing honest relationship with oneself through ruthless but loving self-observation. Establish daily ritual of spiritual inventory. Before sleeping, honestly review day identifying moments you reacted with irritation, judgment, impatience, or resistance, without justifying or rationalizing behaviors. Write these observations in journal, not to punish yourself, but to develop clarity about unconscious patterns sabotaging spiritual growth. When noticing resistance to this honesty process, recognize resistance itself is valuable information about ego trying to maintain control through denial. Practice daily confession. I recognize my shadows without judgment, but with loving clarity. Brutal honesty with myself is portal to authentic transformation. I embrace all parts of me, light and darkness, as materials for genuine spiritual growth. The sixth revelation culminates when Ananda finally understands complete teaching. His experience with turbid water was perfect mirror reflecting functioning of his own mind. When we dive directly into mental confusion trying to resolve it through analysis or control, we only increase turbulence. But when we sit patiently at consciousness margin, observing without interfering, natural clarity emerges spontaneously, just as sediments settle and water purifies itself. This perception completely transforms understanding about meditation. It ceases being technique to control mind and becomes art of allowing mind to reveal its essentially pure nature. Imagine deep lake covered by dense mist at dawn. You can try dissipating mist by blowing or agitating air, but only when sun rises naturally and temperature gradually changes does mist dissipate, revealing crystalline waters always present. Thus it is with mind. We don't need to create peace. We need only stop creating agitation, obscuring natural serenity already present at consciousness core. Ramana Maharshi used similar metaphor to explain self-inquiry. Mental problems are like dreams, seem real while immersed in them. But moment we awaken to nature of who is dreaming, all problematic content dissolves instantly. True meditation is this awakening to one, observing all mental states without being touched by them. Practical integration of this revelation transforms spiritual practice from effort to natural ease. Establish fundamental understanding. You are not creator of peace, but discoverer of peace already existing. During formal meditation, instead of trying to achieve a special state, simply relax into consciousness, already present, observing whatever states arise. When daily life brings emotional turbulence, anger, fear, anxiety, remember stream parable. Don't dive directly into emotion trying to fix it, but sit at margin as conscious witness, allowing intensity to naturally diminish. Practice throughout day posture of heart's margin observer instead of drama actor. Cultivate deep confidence. Peace is my essential nature, not conquest I need achieve. When I stop creating mental agitation, clarity reveals itself spontaneously. I am serene consciousness observing all temporary phenomena without being affected by them. The seventh revelation consecrates supreme teaching Buddha wanted to transmit through this apparently simple parable. Authentic meditation is not technique to make something happen, but refined art of allowing something to stop happening, specifically stopping compulsive interference with natural self-purification process. Mind executes when not constantly disturbed by our well-intentioned but counterproductive efforts to control, improve, or transform it. This is paradoxical wisdom few masters dare teach, because it goes against human instinct to solve problems through direct action. Visualize novice gardener who, worried about plants, slow growth, digs them up daily to check roots, constantly moves them seeking perfect sun, adds excess fertilizers trying to accelerate process. His good intentions destroy exactly what he wishes to nurture. Wise gardener plants seeds, provides basic conditions, water, adequate light, rich soil, then allows life's natural intelligence to do mysterious growth work without anxious interference. Lao Tzu summarized this wisdom in Wu Wei concept: action that is not action, doing that doesn't force, intervention that doesn't interfere. The sage doesn't act, but nothing remains undone. Doesn't seek, but finds everything. Doesn't force, but everything harmonizes around him. This is supreme art, accomplishing without effort, leading without commanding, teaching without indoctrinating. Practical mastery of this revelation requires fundamental relationship change with own interior experience, instead of always trying to do something with uncomfortable mental or emotional states. Develop capacity to be present with them without change agenda. When anxiety arises, instead of trying to relax or analyze causes, simply remain present with anxiety's physical sensations without resistance or forced acceptance, just neutral presence. When sadness appears, sit with it as you would accompany a friend in difficulty, without advice, without attempts to cheer, just silent and loving presence. This compassionate non-interference allows all mental states to follow natural course without crystallizing into chronic patterns through our resistance or attachment. Practice supreme non-doing. I allow each experience to be exactly as it is without trying to fix or change it. Pure presence without agenda is my contribution to a natural process of healing and clarification. I trust life's inherent wisdom operating through me. While echoes of this sacred parable still reverberate through depths of your being, recognize Buddha wasn't simply teaching meditation technique. He was revealing fundamental truth about your essential nature. You are not agitated mind needing control, but clear consciousness temporarily forgetting itself due to identification with temporary movements of thoughts and emotions. Like turbid water never losing essential purity, but only appearing dirty when sediments are suspended, your Buddha nature remains eternally intact even when superficial experience seems chaotic or problematic. The great freedom this understanding brings is realizing you never need become something different from what you already are. You need only stop interfering with natural clarity through unnecessary efforts to improve, control, or transform what, in essence, is already perfect. May this ancient wisdom become constant companion in your journey, always remembering, true meditation is gentle return to home of your own awakened nature, where peace is not conquest but rediscovery of what was never lost. If this millennial parable touched your soul, if you recognized in Ananda's experience reflection of your own struggles with agitated mind and discovered in Buddha's wisdom invitation for a completely new relationship with your interior processes, then sacred moment has arrived to share this light with other seekers still trapped in illusion. They must conquer peace through exhausting mental battles. Leave your like on this video as declaration you honor timeless teachings of awakened masters and desire others. Discover supreme art of compassionate non-interference, transforming suffering into serenity through patient observation. Subscribe to this channel to continue receiving ancient wisdoms translated into contemporary language, transformative stories illuminating path back to original Buddha nature through understandings dissolving unnecessary spiritual effort and revealing radiant simplicity always present. Share with those you perceive ready for this revolutionary understanding. Perhaps someone uselessly fighting their own mind. Perhaps friend exhausted from complicated techniques, promising peace but delivering only more agitation. Perhaps person compassionate universe will place in your path to hear exactly this parable at perfect moment of their awakening journey. And leave in comments your experiences with silent observation practice. Each shared discovery becomes mirror where others recognize own potential for natural clarity. May Buddha's wisdom awaken in you like crystalline water emerging from temporary turbulence. May you rediscover lost art of sitting at margin of your own consciousness with sage's patience awaiting dawn. And may your entire life become continuous meditation, where each experience, serene or agitated, is embraced with presence that doesn't interfere but only witnesses with infinite love the eternal dance of existence.